Hello and welcome to News Central Television. I am Lekon Onobanjo. The top stories at this hour. NLC threatens mass action over rising poverty, insecurity. Olubadan of Ibadan, Owoladi Olakuleyin, joins his ancestors at age 90 after 1 year on the throne. Tensions in Nairobi as Kenya marks Democracy Uprising. Details to come your way shortly. We start by telling you that the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, has threatened to embark on nationwide protest over the rising insecurity, poverty and high cost of living crisis in the country. This is as it warned that Nigerian workers would no longer sit idly by while the nation's economy and democracy crumble. NLC, in a communique signed by its presidents Joe Ajaero and the General Secretary Emmanuel Udwaja, said the almost 700,000 lives lost in just a year to insecurity in Nigeria can only happen in nations at war. It also warned that when farmers could not access their lands to farm, famine becomes a looming danger. The Congress condemned what it called the government's failure to secure lives and property and demanded immediate action. To discuss this, we're joined by a rights activist, Victor Ojay. Victor, thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you for having me here.
Now, do workers in Nigeria have sufficient institutional mechanisms to challenge poverty and insecurity without having to resort to mass action?
You know, we don't have such a capacity because of we have a weak NLC leadership that always come late to the table. Yes, we have insecurity crisis in Nigeria. We have a lot of challenges going on, but the question you should ask the leadership of the NLC is, have they engaged the civil society community and the NGOs in Nigeria genuinely? Have they engaged with think tanks that will engage with the lawmakers during the time of policy making? Have they ever presented any agro-ranger policy that will protect these farmers that they are not claiming that they are advocating for? Have their advocacy been consistent? During the era of Autumn, the governor of Benue State, not less than 3,000 farmers lost their lives. The NLC never issued a press statement to address that issue. As I speak to you, many communities in Zamfara, Nasarawa, Kaduna, Jos Plateau, they are no longer having any residents in that community. These communities are now ghost communities. What has the NLC done? Are we not aware that during the time when Ajaero, the NLC leader, daughter got married lately, few months ago, was Hope Uzodinma not present there, a politician, the governor of Imo State, the same governor you accused that he molested you while you went for a protest at Owerri? You are now, look, the truth is that the NLC has failed the Nigerian workers. Okay, tell us if the NLC has ever advocated for the civil rights of the civil servants. Are we not all aware that on a monthly basis that not less than a particular percentage of amount, not less than 2.5% is deducted from the Nigerian worker's salary? And after 35 years, or when you are 60 years old, when you retire, those funds were meant for housing. No civil servant has been handed over any house. What has the NLC done on that? What about charges that have been deducted from the civil servant, whether federal, state, or local government workers' monthly salary, that the NLC pay as you earn, that the NLC never made use of or implemented? Is there any such program as refund, tax refund, like we see in United States, like we see in UK and other climes? The NLC are just playing emotional blackmail. Okay. Let it not be as if they are not there.
Now,
they just
Victor,
want to distract Nigerians. So please, NLC should stop that ideology of protesting or going on strike.
Okay, so
they should
now,
engage
Victor,
more on ideas that we can use to tackle these shortcomings from the government, the federal government, the state government, at all levels.
Okay, so Victor, now if you are accusing the NLC of being negligent and docile and advocating for the rights of the people, and we have a government that, according to how you painted it, is paying lip service to tackling insecurity, who will Nigerians, or who should Nigerians now turn to for reprieve or solution?
Look, the NLC should wake up. If what they claim is that they want to advocate for the Nigerian farmers, they should be able to put up an agro-ranger policy that will be, that they need to get a lawmaker that will sponsor this bill, that will provide for protection of farmers. That is what they should do. They should engage more with civil society. How many radio jingles, how many TV adverts have you seen the NLC funded to educate and enlighten the Nigerian workers on their rights? Currently, a staff of a federal government staff here in the FCT has been accused of leaking a document that has to do with accusation of the FCT minister allocating land to his children. What has the NLC done to advocate for the rights of that civil servant who has a right to whistle blowing? What have they done? What provision? The provisions that protect the Nigerian worker, the public service rule. What has the NLC done to ensure that it's being implemented to protect these civil servants? What about other states that a lot of civil servants have issues? What has the NLC done? The NLC should please stop distracting Nigerians. We know Nigerians don't have trust in them anymore. We have lost hope in the NLC of Nigeria. That is a fact. Because we need result-oriented advocacies. We need solutions to our problem, not protests. Since all the protests that Ajero has been organizing, to what end? What has he achieved that will say has affected the life of the common civil servant?
So many valid questions. So many valid questions, Victor, that you're asking. Now, for the state, is there a way that the government can balance how it addresses this whistleblowing and issues around rights, citizens' rights to protest, and having to also deal with security? Basically, what should be the role of the government, most especially as it concerns the rights of the people?
You know, we have a draconian administration ongoing. Our president is high-handed, of which, will I say fortunately or fortunately, I used to be a fan of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu because I followed him right from the late 90s. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu advocated for land matters, physical planning, beautification, local government elections. A lot of policies that Nigerians enjoy today in Nigeria, many of them never knew that it was Osibanjo as the Attorney General of Lagos State, while President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was the governor of Lagos State. That was when he facilitated these policies that are people-oriented. He was the first governor to set up an IPP that President Olusegun Obasanjo tackled him that power generation, electricity was on an exclusive list. I expected so much from him. I am a member of PDP, funny enough, as a socio-political activist. But Bola Ahmed Tinubu was someone that I admired so much. But coming on board, instead of him to tackle power generation, because any nation that wants to progress must focus on power generation. After power generation, you focus on industrialization that will create jobs, that will address the social dimension of crime control, that will address criminality, control of crime, without focusing on the architecture of security by way of gun, grenade, armor tank, bulletproof vest. No, we should think of alternative means of addressing insecurity.
Okay.
One of the things or factors that is driving insecurity in Nigeria currently is lack of job, is unemployment, the youth are idle. Use of drug now comes in. Social vices now comes in. Because of what? An idle man is devil's workshop.
So
what is the
basically,
presidency doing? President Tinubu was supposed to ensure that he put professionals on the front seat while politicians will take the back seat. Look, Had it been we have politicians, professionals that are handling every sector in every parastatal at the federal level by way of ministers, you will see that we would have good results.
So basically what you're saying, Victor, is that there's a lot, basically what you're saying is that there's a lot on the table of the government, but then the sincerity of purpose to actually right these wrongs and bring up these solutions is what is missing. But then thank you so much, Victor J, for sharing your thoughts with us on the news. We appreciate that. Away from that, Chairman of the Global Pro-Life Alliance, Dr. Philip Njamanze, has raised serious allegations against biotechnology sponsors, accusing them of undermining Nigeria's food security and exploiting the nation's resources for global bioexploitation. Dr. Njamanze outlined how these actions are impacting the country's sovereignty and citizens in a letter addressed to Chike Okafor, Chairman of the House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security. Dr. Njamanze stated that certain biotechnology sponsors have deliberately funded Boko Haram insurgents, raised farms of natural crops, and coerced displaced farmers into adopting genetically modified seeds. Dr. Njamanze called on the National Assembly to take urgent action to protect Nigeria's food sovereignty and citizens from exploitation. Also shed more light on this, we're joined by the chairman of the Global Pro-Life Alliance, Dr. Philip Njamanze. Dr. Njamanze, thank you so much for talking to us at this time.
Thank you for having me.
Now, are there documented cases or evidence linking biotech crop adoption in Nigeria with biodiversity losses, most especially as it affects farmer dependency and soil degradation?
Yes, well, first and foremost, what we have to dispel first is that this is linked with any Islamic terrorism or Fulani headsmen, as is popularly spread by the press. Now, if you take between 2015 and 2018, according to the data presented by the U.S. Council on Foreign Relations to the U.S. Congress, 37,500 people were killed by Boko Haram, registered. Out of these 37,000, 32,000 were Muslims. 32,000, that means 85% were Muslims. 5,500 were Christians. That's 15%. How can Islamic terrorism kill 85% of Muslims? In states like Zamfara, 60% of the victims were Hausa, 40% were Fulani. How can Fulani herdsmen and kill Fulani? So this has nothing to do with any religious a kind of inclination. What it has to do is the biotech companies. When this started seriously, who was the senior special advisor to the president, Goodluck, in 2014, 2013, 2014, even starting from 2009, was Bill Gates, a foreign citizen. He was this eminent person, special advisor to the president on agriculture. Now, who was the minister? Akinwumi. But what this both did was to issue 14 million cell phones. 14 million cell phones to the Nigerian farmers. And Bill Gates gave 2 billion naira as grant for inputs for farmers to buy seeds. So when they gave this grant, farmers were going with their so-called electronic wallet called these cell phones, and then they were buying seeds. Now, do you know that all these farmers who were the natural seed growers in their communities are dead now? All of them were targeted. Their farms burnt, their families destroyed. Why? Because the mercenaries, they are calling Boko Haram and Fulani headsmen, the mercenaries trained by private army of Bill Gates called Blackwater, trained by them, we are giving the coordinates of these natural seed growers in their communities where they destroy their farms, kill these farmers. The reason why they were killing the farmers was to eliminate them and introduce the genetically modified organisms food, the GMO seeds. Now, what does this do? Once you take the GMO maize, once you harvest it, and use it, the one they gave you, and it's produced by Monsanto, which is owned by Bill Gates. Now, once they give you that and you eat it, that will be the last you can eat. You have to go to them every season, every planting season, to collect the seeds.
Okay.
And when you go to collect the seed, then they will tell you what they need for this, in exchange.
Now,
And
Dr.
what they
Jamazi,
need
I'd
for
like to
this
quickly find out, are there
ovarian
evidences,
eggs
documented
of Nigerian
evidences
women.
to back up these claims that you have
There is
made there?
evidence. There is evidence. Absolutely, there is evidence. One, all the GMOs that have been introduced in Nigeria, even which were not, there is no toxicity test, no proper procedure, they introduced them. Who owns them? Bill Gates. That is through his company called Monsanto.
Okay, so now, Dr. Njomanze, now I understand. How do you now even evaluate the role of the National Biosafety Management Agency in approving genetically modified crops? Because one would think that that is why such an agency or body was established in the first place.
The so-called biosafety agency is just a rubber stamp of Bill Gates. He appointed all of them. He appointed the people in the seed councils. So he is the one dictating that, and it's not only in Nigeria. He's doing it across Africa. It's not just Nigeria is not just the only country where he appointed the seed council. So this was just taking away our entire food security. The government sold this area of agriculture and now helped to Bill Gates. And this is what is happening. This is the consequence of what we are getting. So Bill Gates is the one responsible for this. He funded the electronic wallets. We have evidence for that. You can ask the NCC, all the cell phones that are electronic wallets, we are giving to him. They use the GPS to track them. The evidence is there. There is nothing really we need to prosecute him that we don't have. We have all the evidence to prosecute him because he was an active person in this whole thing.
Okay,
so it's the government that has to live up to the expectation that is required. And
so we come to that part now. What would you say are the long-term consequences or the risks of having to adopt a GMO? And what do you think can be done if we were to right these wrongs in this situation?
Now, let me start with the last question. You can simply stop the entire violence within 3 weeks, maximum of 3 weeks. Repeal the National Health Act, which authorizes them to collect organs of people without consent and the eggs of women without consent. If you repeal it, Section 48 and all the other sections, Section 51, these things are stated clearly. So you can repeal it. That will get rid of the main goal of what they are looking for. And secondly, repeal the National Biosafety Management Act, where they cannot pass anything and release any crops. Once we do this, give them 3 weeks. Their entire arsenal will expire because every investor in this project, which includes a lot of millionaires and billionaires around the world who are investing in this, because the egg cloning industry is worth 30 trillion US dollars. That means 30 trillion is 1/3 of world economy. And they are going to get those eggs from 10 million Nigerian women annually, which will give them 100 million eggs. We will have these 10 million Nigerian women die 2-3 years later from what we call ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome, kidney failure, liver failure, cancers, and infections. Okay. So we are actually leading our whole populace to the burial ground by allowing Bill Gates to do this before us. And this is high treason, and everybody who is involved in it must go to prison for this, or even go to face the death sentence, because this is treason against Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Philip Njomanze, for bringing this to the spotlight. I guess this is a case that we'll always continue to put our eyes on to get all the facts and bring it to the public knowledge. It was nice talking to you. Let's go on a break now. Olubadan of Ibadan, Owolabiola Kuleyin, joins his ancestors at the age of 90 after 1 year on the throne. We'll tell you more in a short while. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Lagos is once again facing major traffic disruptions, this time at Iyanoworo The ongoing reconstruction work on the bridge has triggered heavy gridlock across key routes connecting the mainland to the island. Commuters have been forced into long detours and delayed travel, raising concerns about the city's traffic management capacity during essential infrastructure upgrades. And joining us live now from the site of the bridge repairs is our news correspondent, Israel Ife-Robo, who has been tracking the situation and speaking with affected road users. Ife, good evening to you. Let's have an understanding of what the traffic situation is over there.
And as you can see, it's so much to talk about. So this is a bridge that the authorities have said that it will take about 110 days to fix. And what you see is a long stretch of vehicles coming through from the island into the mainland. It's indeed something that Lagosians have been experiencing for the last 10 days, because today is day 10 of what you are currently witnessing. We have been told from the Ministry of Transportation that this is what should be expected for the next 110 days. That simply means 10 days gone, 100 more days to go. Lagosians are groaning in this traffic situation, and this is now a daily occurrence. I have here with me Sonny Alawade, who will be telling us exactly how it's been like for him in the past couple of days. Sonny, this is News Central TV. Thank you for talking to us. Right. You have been plying this road for some time now. How has it been for you since the repairs began?
Yeah, it's been really terrible experience as regard, plying the road, and most of the time we have to trek from Nairobi, because if you have to sit down in the bus, you are going to spend nothing less than an hour, even more. So just to beat traffic, we have to trek down here, and it's really been a bad experience for us. The journey that ought to take you like 10 minutes is taking more than an hour. So though we understand that what government is doing is for the betterment of the citizen as regard the repair of the bridge, but I just believe that if this work can be done in the midnight rather than the day, because a lot of people are passing through a lot because of this repair. So I don't know if government can just do what is best for us, so that can ease the movement of the people. Yeah.
So does this mean that you don't like exactly what is happening here?
Yes.
Are you now accustomed to what is happening here?
You can't be accustomed to pain, because this is pain. Journey of 10 minutes is now more than 1 hour. Like on Friday, I got to like to 10. So to 10, and it's terrible. It's terrible. So I don't know if government can just find an alternative for us so that it can ease. We understand the part of the government that the bridge needed to be repaired, so that for better traffic flow. But the short time pain, which is the 3 months, it's really been a terrible experience. So
thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you. Well, there you go. That was one of the people being affected here by the repairs on Ogudi Fako Bridge. Thank you so much for talking to us, Sonny, there, sharing to us his experience here at the Fako Ogudi Bridge. This is going to be on for the next 100 days. We were told from the Ministry of Transportation that there will be another phase. This is the first phase. This carriageway is being worked on right now. The next carriageway will also commence much later when the first phase is completed. We understand that this will go on in lots of phases, and this, as you can see, is a place where they have already started work on. There are different sections along this road, along this particular bridge, that will be fixed, and Lagosians are indeed feeling the heat. But then again, this is what good governance is about, and the government have gone ahead to say that this is for the integrity and the stability of the bridge. Liko?
Israel, before you go, I'd like to quickly find out. Now, was this repair works, was it communicated before the exercise began? And did the agency responsible for this probably intimate the public about alternative routes? Well, I think we just lost communication with our reporter right there. It would have been lovely to get more details as regards to this, but then we'll definitely do that in our subsequent bulletins. Well, definitely we'll get more details from Israel in our subsequent bulletins. Moving on now, Ibadan is mourning the death of its traditional ruler, the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Obolabi Olakuleyin, who passed away early on Monday at the age of 90. The monarch died during celebrations marking both his 90th birthday and the first anniversary of his coronation. Oba Olakuleyin succeeded the late Oba Lekan Balogun and was widely respected for his leadership and wisdom. Tributes have begun pouring in from political leaders, traditional rulers, and citizens. More details surrounding his death and the transition process are expected in the coming days. We talk politics now. As part of efforts to build a formidable coalition ahead of the 2027 general election, the African Democratic Congress has commenced moves to woo high-profile politicians from the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressives Congress, confirming the takeover of PDP structures in Yobe, Gombe, and Adamawa states. Paul Ibe, media aide to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, said the PDP executives in the northern states had aligned with the coalition. However, Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State dismissed media reports that it would lead 5 other governors from the APC to the ADC. Also, the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, said he remains committed to protecting the interests of his supporters and political associates. In the meantime, political resource group Fix Politics has proposed a 6-point recommendation for electoral reforms in Nigeria. The group made its position known in a letter signed by Frank Nweke, a chairperson of Fix Politics Initiative, and Bumi Lawson, co-chair of the Electoral and Constitutional Reforms Work Study Group 3. It was addressed to the Deputy Senate President and Chairman of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on the review of the 1999 Constitution. The 6-point plan includes diaspora voting, provision for independent candidacy, reform of the appointment process of INEC officials, electoral dispute resolution before swearing in, mandatory use of electronic voting, that is IREV and BVAS. Now, citing relevant sections of the Constitution to be amended, they argued that diaspora voting, independent candidacy, and appointments reform for INEC officials are foundational to restoring public trust in Nigeria's electoral process and building a political system that reflects the will of the people. The Sustainable Development Goals were adopted by world leaders in 2015 with a bold aim, and that is to make life better for people and the planet by 2030. But what do these global goals really mean for the average Nigerian? In this report, News Central's Oluwakemi Alimi breaks it down, showing how the SDGs affect your daily life and how you can play a part.
Streets of Lagos to remote rural communities, Nigerians are hustling daily for a better life. But behind every struggle lies a promise: 17 Sustainable Development Goals designed to improve life for all.
As a matter of fact, I'm just hearing about it for the first time.
I don't think I've come across such name.
The SDG goals are goals set by the United Nations and 193 countries, including Nigeria, in 2015, and they looked at all the issues that cut across, all countries, regardless of race, of gender, of religion, of status, and said, let us come up with these 17 goals that would ensure peace and prosperity for all.
The SDGs are not just for government or the UN. They touch everyday issues: poverty, hunger, health, and education. Take Goal 1, for example, no poverty. That means ensuring people like street vendors, Okada riders, and small-scale farmers earn enough to live with dignity.
People are suffering well because of food. We dey yourself, nobody say it don't better for us. We still dey find money for food.
Goal 3, better health services, so when your child falls ill, you don't have to go broke seeking treatment. GOFA focuses on education, so every child can go to school and learn, no matter where they live.
The government should be able to give better quality education for all.
Even basic needs like clean water and electricity fall under the SDGs. So does gender equality, good jobs, peace, and climate action.
Security should be number one, because without security, nothing can work. If the life and citizen of the people are secured, then people will have rest of mind to go their day-to-day activities.
And the responsibility isn't just for leaders. Change can start with you by using water wisely, supporting local businesses, sending your children to school, or simply demanding better from those in power.
So every individual, everybody, every person has a role to play in ensuring that we achieve the SDGs by 2030.
So next time you hear SDGs, remember, they are not some big foreign agenda. They are a to-do list for a better life. For you, for me, for all of us. Let's make them real. In Lagos, for News Central, Oluwakemi Alimi.
Coming up on the news, tension in Nairobi as Kenya marks a democracy uprising. We'll bring you more details in a short while. Do join us again. In a move to bolster economic ties and cooperation, Botswana and Malawi have signed two significant memoranda of understanding to enhance trade and investment between the two countries. Botswana President Duma Gideon Boko and his counterparts and hosts, President Lazarus Chakwera of Malawi, said the two countries are strengthening and deepening bilateral relations by taking all necessary steps to support mutual growth and promote trade. The two presidents witnessed the signing of a memorandum of understanding on aquaculture development and inland fisheries management, as well as Investment Trade Center and Malawi Investment Trade Center. Now, joining us to discuss this is President of Economics Association of Malawi, Dr. Bertha Bangara Chikadza. Thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you.
So how does the visit of Botswana's president, that is Duma Boko, to Malawi, reflect the current state of diplomatic relations between the two countries?
The three-day state visit by President Duma Boko underscores a shift from ceremonial diplomacy toward outcome-driven, action-oriented partnership and engagement. This moves away from just visiting, but now we are seeing something coming out of the visit. We've seen both heads of state committing to open embassies in each other's capitals, signaling mutual trust and also long-term political commitment. So they're pledged to move from talk to action, but also with time-bound, outcome-oriented cooperation, actually across mining, agriculture, vaccine production, and trade with measurable goals, just reflect a maturing partnership that frames bilateral ties around practical cooperation rather than symbolic gestures.
So now, how do you now assess the significance of the MOUs signed between the two countries in terms of regional economic integration?
These memorandums of understandings, especially one on aquaculture development and also another on inland fisheries management and Botswana Investment and Trade Center and Malawi Investment and Trade Center, just lay a concrete groundwork for seamless cross-border integration and also aligns with Southern African Development Community, the SADC goals of deepening cross-border value chains and also harmonizing sectoral policies. So by establishing these joint technical committees that are coming with the MOUs, but also sharing market and regulatory data, coordinating trade exhibitions, and also mobilizing private sector engagement. We believe that these engagements create institutional linkages that reduce barriers, but also harmonize standards and embed both countries in shared value chains.
So let's talk about the barriers. What might be a stumbling block to achieving these benefits, so to speak, associated with the agreements, and how can this bilateral relationship deal with those stumbling blocks?
Because, you know, Botswana and Malawi are on different lines or different terms in terms of development and also technical expertise. We believe that these can be a stumbling block, especially when we're exporting things to Botswana, knowing that our colleague country is a bit developed in terms of technicalities and also maybe how they put in, their standards in terms of the imports they get. But we're believing that these bilateral relations actually tries to take out those stumbling blocks, and we are hoping that Malawi is going to benefit more because Malawi is just starting its mining, and Botswana already is miles ahead in terms of mining. And we're hoping that this can actually lay some groundwork for mining sector in Malawi, where Malawi can benefit more. And we're hoping that these MOUs will take out all the stumbling blocks that were there between exports that were coming from Malawi, going to Botswana, especially in terms of we're talking of Malawi has good fragrance rice, for example, Kilombero, but maybe there might be some non-tariff barriers that would have stopped Kilombero to be exported to Botswana. But with these agreements, these MOUs, we are hoping that Malawian exports will be going seamlessly to Botswana, and we're hoping that with the MOU between BITC and MITC will foster data sharing, but also coordinated trade mission, and hoping that this will bring the markets together, integrating them and reducing the non-tariff barriers across the regions that would have been there minus the MOUs.
Well, I must say kudos to Malawi and Botswana for initiating this laudable partnership. Thank you so much, Dr. Bertha Bangara Chikadza, for sharing these details with us. Now, in an expose, the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner General Latla Makwanazi has made strong allegations against Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, accusing him of political interference in key investigations. At a media briefing on Sunday, Nkwamanazi also claims that the minister has a direct link with criminal syndicates in the country. Meanwhile, General Nkwamanazi on Monday opened a case against the minister and wants him arrested and prosecuted. We have our correspondent, Bongani Siziba, on ground in South Africa to give more details to this.
Indeed, a very good afternoon to you, and bringing you the latest on a story that is capturing the headlines here in South Africa, and explosive allegations coming from the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner, that is General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. During his media press conference on Sunday, he accused senior officials of corruption, claimed that the police minister, that is Senzo Mchunu, was in contact with criminal syndicates, and suggested that there is a deliberate attempt to undermine efforts against political killings in the country. We also know that he addressed the accusation, saying that he protected a drug-dealing prison official, revealing that the Independent Police Investigative Directorate, that is the IPID, withdrew a letter requesting his response to complaint. So it's a serious and violation of the situation. And President Cyril Ramaphosa now faces a daunting task of navigating these turbulent waters. Let's take a listen to what General Mkhwanazi's allegations said.
I can confirm before the South Africans today that the investigation which these members were involved with in Gauteng has unmasked the syndicate. And this syndicate involves, amongst others, politicians who are currently serving in Parliament. The law enforcement officers include the members of the South African Police Service, the Metro Police, and Correctional Services. They include prosecutors in Gauteng province, the judiciary, And all these are controlled by the drug cartel as well as business people in that province of Gauteng.
Well, thank you so much, Bongani Siziba, for that update. It just took the words out of my mouth, but we appreciate the details you shared with us. Let's tell you that Kenya marks the Sabbath Day on Monday amid high tension and heavy police presence in Nairobi. The day commemorates the 1990 pro-democracy protests against autocratic rule. This year, it's been reignited by young Kenyans angry over corruption, police brutality, and a struggling economy. Roads into Nairobi city center were blocked and businesses shut down as authorities braced for unrest. Activist Hanifa Aden posted online calling it a forced holiday by the state. Over 80 people have died since protests began in June, and many fear further violence. Protesters accuse the state of sabotage. The government calls it an attempted coup.
I've never seen the CPD being decided like this. This is one of the things which shows now people are being tired of this government. You see businesses are closed everywhere, people are in the house, the economy is being affected. Now you see the government raises its revenue from the businesses. You see now.
And that's all at this hour, but then we look at our major stories before we go. NLC has threatened mass action over rising poverty, insecurity. Olubadan Ibadan, Owolabi Olakuleyin has joined his ancestors at the age of 90 after 1 year on the throne. We also told you that there is tension in Nairobi as Kenya marks Democracy Uprising. Don't forget to send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. While you follow us on social media, we are at News Central TV. Watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, StarTimes channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.